Welcome to Natural Habitat Adventures Daily Dose of Nature. I'm your host, Sunny Vanderstar. Today's topic, discover the world's oldest desert, the Great Namibia Wildlife Safari. And it will be presented by our fabulous NatHab Expedition Leader, Abner Simeon. Abner, thank you so much for being here today. I cannot wait to travel with you to Namibia for the next hour. I'm very excited to hear what you have to share. So let's dive in.
Hi, Sunny. Thank you very much for the introduction. Yes, this is the Great Namibia Wildlife Safari, and my name is Abner Simeon, all the way from Namibia, and I'm currently in Windhoek. Um, yeah, so we actually gonna be going through a few things here. Just a bit of introduction about Namibia and what we're gonna be doing. Also introduce myself. I hope my English is actually okay and everybody do understand. It's the first time I'm doing a webinar, but I'm so excited to meet every single one of you guys out there. And I hope you guys will be traveling with us very soon. I can't wait to see everyone. I'm actually one of the expedition leaders in Namibia. And we do tours for NatHab throughout the country here. Just to give you a bit of background where I am from, who I am. Just a minute here. All right. So for those that don't know me, this is me, as you can see on the camera, and then there is also another photo of me. Many people call me AB, the one and only. Born in Namibia, raised in Namibia, in the northern part of Namibia. That's where I was born. Just to quickly show you, I'm gonna quickly switch off my camera here, but then I'm gonna show you where I was born. Just a minute here. All right, so here, as you guys can see, we've got the map of Namibia, and this is Windhoek where we're currently at. And I was born actually in the northern part of Namibia, just very close by here. Yeah, just in the northern part of Namibia, as you can see up here where the mouse is moving. That's where I was born and raised more in the central parts of the country. Um, Both my parents used to actually work in the tourism industry growing up. Yeah, both of my parents actually used to work in the tourism industry, whereby my father was a chef, my mother was a housekeeper, and then growing up, I attended a private school in the central part of Namibia, and then I actually fell in love with this beautiful country and the nature. All right. In 2015, that's when I actually became, 2014, sorry, 2014, that's when I became a guide. And then I actually started guiding throughout the country in Namibia. And then in 2019, that's when I joined NatHab. And ever since that, I've been doing tours for NatHab. All right. Just to give you a bit of a background of Namibia. Namibia is 825,000 square kilometers, which is quite a very, very big country, as you can see on the map here. So it's quite a very big country, and it's located southwest of Africa. Just it would be north of South Africa, as you can see. So it actually borders a few countries, which is South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Angola. But then we also have one of the biggest coastline, which is the Atlantic Ocean. All right, and we've got a coastline that runs 2,000 um, kilometers. So from the south of South Africa, I mean south of Namibia to the north of Namibia. All right. Namibia, it's actually known to be one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Um, yeah, it's actually one of the most beautiful country in the world. Consider the landscape from the world's oldest desert to the rugged mountains, dense woodlands, and then little carpet waterways. So it's the reason, yeah. So reason why we have what is it? A lot of guests coming to Namibia, or why we invite our guests to come to Namibia, is because of the most beautiful sceneries we've got. We've got some of the beautiful landscape, the mountains, and also the culture as well. But apart from that, out of the 800,000 square kilometers of land, we've got also more than 300,000 square kilometers of protected land. All right. So just a minute again. Yeah. So once you guys arrive in Namibia and you meet up with your expedition leaders, they will uh, go more into detail about the whole country and so. But there, as for me, I will be giving you um, I will just be giving you a few information or just to prepare you for your trip to Namibia, or it's what we call know before you go. Yeah, know before you go to Namibia. All right. So we're gonna be going through a few things. So it's gonna be taking a bit of time. We're talking about maybe like 40 minutes where we're gonna be going into detail. So as you can see here, I've got topics, what we're going to be talking about, and every day, yeah, this is actually what we're going to be talking about, as you can see on the screen. But if you do have any questions, you are welcome to ask me at the end of the webinar, and I will answer them. All right. So we gonna be starting off with the itinerary. The grade, yeah. So we're gonna be starting off with the itinerary, and then after the itinerary, we're gonna be doing the transportation, vehicle, weather, climate, recommendation of camera gear, physical requirements, luggage requirements, limits, and packing as well. All right. So the grade. Seeing a bit of a problem here. Right. So right now we've got so when you guys actually arrive in Namibia, uh, when you arrive when you arrive in Namibia, the main access point is Windhoek, where you see the orange circle there. That's actually um, the main access into Namibia, whereby you fly from all parts of the country. I mean, all parts of the world. Doesn't matter where you come from. If you're coming from the States, you will be flying to maybe Frankfurt, and from Frankfurt, you will be flying to straight to from Frankfurt to Windhoek, which is our capital city, as you can see here. And then from yeah, or otherwise you will be flying from the States to Joburg, and from Joburg you'll be flying all the way to Namibia or Windhoek. All right. So the main itinerary that we're going to be talking about is the Great Namibia Wildlife Safari. We do have other trips that do run across Namibia, which are the NetHab trips, which is APIC, Botswana Namibia Safari Wildlife, Wild Namibia Photo Expedition, and Botswana Namibia expeditions as well. So, but the main focus today is the Great Namibia Wildlife Safari that we're going to be talking about. We actually do three. Um, we actually do three camps in Namibia, which whereby we start within Windhoek, and then we go all the way to the south of Namibia. But I will go now into detail once I start showing you the other areas. But then you arrive in Windhoek, in Windhoek, you would go through, once you land, you would go through security, customs and immigration. And then once you're done with customs and immigration, you will be met by one of NATAB's representatives, or one of the guys at the airport will be there waiting for you. So once you land in Windhoek, you will just look for any natural habitat board or sign, or someone wearing a NATAB uniform with a NATAB logo with the WWF as well. Once you do that, they will take you into the lounge, and then at the lounge there they will weigh your luggage, and then after that they will give you a transfer to your hotel. So just to show you, all right. So okay. So once you have been transferred to the hotel, which is in Windhoek, Olive Grove, as you can see here, some of the pictures here. Once you reach the Olive Grove, that's where you're gonna be staying. That's your accommodation for the first night, where you will relax. If you do arrive early in the morning, that's where you will be relaxing until in the evening, and then you will be meeting up with your expedition leader. So the expedition leader, which is me or my other colleagues, we will be meeting up with you, greet you, and then we'll be going through the itinerary just to give you specific proper details of the trip and what to do and what not to do. Okay, so here, this is actually Olive Grove, one of the most beautiful hotels that we've got in Windhoek. It's actually in Windhoek, inside the capital city. It's a very nice, quiet place, as you can see. Very beautiful stairs, the rooms, and so on. This is the main area. This is where we normally do our meet and greet and our briefings. And then once we are done with it, we will be having dinner. And the following day, we will be flying to one of our camps, which is in the south of Namibia, all right, which is known as Little Kulala. So here in Little Kulala, we'll be spending 3 nights, all right, 3 nights in this beautiful Kulala Reserve. This place, as you can see on the map where it is, here's Windhoek. We will be flying from Windhoek to Little Kulala. So Little Kulala is in the southwest of Namibia, which borders the one of our most beautiful national parks, which is a Naukluft National Park. And then also, this is the most amazing thing, because we have our own reserve here, and then we also have our own entrance into the park. As you can see here, I just made it a bit clear, we've got other lodges which are outside the national park. So Namib Naukluft Park is more than 50,000 square kilometers, right? Yeah, more than 50,000 square kilometers. And we actually border the park, and we're the only ones that border the park. I mean, we're the only ones with the private entrance into the park, making it the most unique thing about this. All right. So as we're going into details, um, if you look here, this is actually the dune corridor. This is actually the dune corridor that we have here. And yeah, this is a dune corridor that we have here. We've got Dune 1, Dune 45, Dead Flay, and Sossusvlei. So Namib Naukluft Park is well known for its most beautiful sand sea, the Namib Sand Sea. Or let me put it this way. Sossusvlei, or in the south of Namibia, where we're gonna be going, the main attraction here will be the Namib Sand Sea, or the Namib Sensi. These are the dunes that you normally see in magazines, with the dead trees, these beautiful reddish color dunes and so on. And also, this is where you will also find the highest dunes, which is Dune Big Daddy, but which I will also show you. All right. So as you can see here, we've got a very beautiful dune. All right, a very beautiful dune here with some fog as well. Um, yeah. So this, if you when you are flying over the dunes, you will actually see they look more like waves. They look more like waves, and that's where actually um, the Sensi name actually comes from, because it looks like waves and it goes for miles and miles and miles. So the Namib Desert, or the dunes actually itself, um, stretches from the south of Namibia all the way to the north of Namibia. And also, we're very, very close to the ocean. If you look here, we're very, very close to the ocean. We're talking about 40 kilometers to 50 kilometers, just straight line from where Sossusvlei is, right? Which is here. Okay. We do have Dune 45, which is also one of the most photographed dunes. As you can see there, we've got one of the most beautiful dunes here. And then here we've got also Big Daddy. Big Daddy is one of the highest dunes in Sossusvlei area, which is more than 325 meters. But it keeps on growing with time. It gets higher and higher because of the new sand or dune that is actually being deposited. Okay. And this is one of the activities that we'll be doing. We'll be hiking on these beautiful dunes. We'll be spending some time um, uh, in this beautiful area. Okay, so here we've got dead flay. The dead flay is actually where it's actually a pan. We've got a pan here, and this is where you will find the dead trees. Once again, as I mentioned, this is the most photographed um, area, and this is the main reason why a lot of people come and visit Sossusvlei. It's because of the dunes and the dead trees that we've got here. The trees themselves are estimated to be over 900 years old, and that's, however, they have not decomposed because of the dry climate. All right. So they haven't decomposed because of the dry climate, and the reason why they also died out is because there was a period of there was a big drought. So for many years it did not rain, and the river did not flow for the trees to get the water, and the underground water tables also ended up running dry. So the trees ended up dying, but then also because of the harsh climate, the trees could also not decompose for that reason. Yeah. So once we are in Sossusvlei, we'll normally be driving from the camp early in the morning. Early in the morning, just before sunrise. As soon as the sun rises, we enter into the park through our private gate, and then we drive to Sossusvlei itself. And then that's where we start seeing different colors on the Namib dunes, right? So on one side you'll see it's reddish, and on the other side it is a bit it's having some shadows and so on. Okay. What I actually like doing is I like waking up early and do that, and then take my guests to Death Play as early as possible, because it does get very, very hot. where temperatures also do rise. But now, currently, we are in the right season, which is the winter season. So the temperatures are perfect. But in summer times, temperatures can go like up to 35 to 40 degrees. But the earlier, the better. And then the temperature is much better. Then you don't get that hot as well. All right. Apart from visiting the dunes, which is Dune 45, Dune 1, Dune 45, Sossusvlei, and Big Daddy, we do also have other activities in the south of Namibia, which we do, which is the hot air balloons. These are one of the beautiful activities which I recommend my guests not to miss out because it's just so beautiful because you see the scenery in different ways. You see the scenery on the ground as we are driving. So as we are driving, at least the first day we'll be driving and you see it on the ground, how it looks like, you feel it as you are walking in the sand, yeah, and also learning the things around the dunes. It's also nice. And then also, it's also very nice when you have a feeling when you can see it from above, but also in a slow motion. So we do have hot air balloons, as you can see there. You do wake up quite very early for this, but it's an experience that you don't want to miss and an activity that you don't want to miss because it's a lifetime opportunity. Once you do this and you are in Namibia, this is a must to do activity. Because, yeah, what happens? We take you to the office and then to the hot air balloon office, and then you guys uh, yeah, you sign the indemnity forms and all that, and then they take you to the balloon site. So here you will see the whole inflation, how they set up the balloons and all that, and then once the balloon is inflated and it's ready to go, everybody gets into the balloon and you take off just as the sunrise. So as you can see, just as the sunrise, you guys are also taking off as well. Here from above, you will be able to see quite a lot of things. We're talking about the beautiful landscape in the background, as you can see where the sun is. You can see also the mountains there. Those are some of the most unique features that we have in the south, which is a great escarpment, yeah, which separates the central plateau of Namibia and the Namib Desert. So this was just uplifted, or it was formed about 80 million years ago when the rim of southern Africa was was lifted after the breakup of the supercontinent, which was known as Gondwana. But once you get here, we'll still be talking about the geology with time. I mean, once you're in Namibia, we'll talk proper geology about this whole area and the formation and so on. But that's what you will be seeing from the balloon. Okay. Apart from that, you will also see some wildlife, which is now our endemic animals, which I will also get into details shortly. But you'll be seeing that, and also the fairy circles, the most mysterious circles, yet nobody knows how they are formed. All right. As you can see here, very beautiful scenery. You will be flying over these mountains once you take off with the ballooning. Depending also on the weather, we actually have two dominant winds. One is coming from the east and the other one from the west. So it just depends which side it's gonna be coming from. But if you do get the wind coming from the east to the west, you're gonna be flying over the Sossusvlei, the corridor, which is this one, where you see Dune 1. Normally, the balloons will be flying from there to Dune 1, and you are able to see both. Um, you will see both sides of the Dune corridor, and it's one of the most beautiful sceneries one can see from up there. Okay. So as you can see there, most of the balloons have been going up just as the sun rises. That's where you end up getting very, very beautiful pictures of the sunrise and then the landscapes and so. All right. So after the ballooning, you will be spending some time. It all depends on how the wind is and so on. You will later have breakfast in the dunes. This is the most beautiful breakfast you will be having. You will enjoy it as well. So once you wake up in the morning, you normally don't have breakfast in camp. You just go to the office and then you have these some coffee and cookies that the locals made there. Very, very good cookies and coffee. And then once you go out on the ballooning, after the ballooning, you will have breakfast. And after breakfast, you will be taken back to the office, and then we drive back to the camp. Okay. Getting back now here, as you can see, we've got some beautiful photos of oryx, which I took in the Namib Desert. We do have desert adapted animals. So going to Sossusvlei, the main attraction in the south of Namibia or in Kulala is the Namib Sensi or the dunes. But apart from that, we do get to see animals. All right. So what I normally say is let's go there in the south of Namibia, mainly for the landscape and the Sensi, but let the animals be a bonus. Because why do I say that? It's currently dry or it's a desert, so it's very, very dry. So sometimes we might be going out on an activity and we might not see a lot of animals, you know. So we normally focus on the landscape. So let the animals be a bonus. But apart from that, we do have these animals. These are desert adapted animals. Why do we say they are desert adapted? Because they can go for many days without drinking water, but they can only get their water source they can get the water from the food source they eat in the desert. So there was a picture of the dune that I showed you first, which had the fog rolling in. So the desert really hardly gets any rain. So most of the plants in the desert get the water from the fog that comes from the Atlantic Ocean, which rolls in inland. So the fog rolls in about 100 to 150 kilometers inland, sometimes up to 200 kilometers inland, and then it condenses on the plants. And that's whereby you will find these animals going to feed early morning hours on the plants so they can get the water from the plants. So the most fascinating animal also in the desert will be the toktoki, which we will also show you once you guys are in Namibia. We'll show you how they actually survive in the desert. But I mean, as you can see here, the oryx is known to be the most desert adapted animal. Reason it can go for many days or even up to a month without drinking water, but only get the water source from the food they eat. Right. We do also have a plant called the Ngara plant. The Ngara plant, you have to make actually the click to pronounce the name Ngara plant. So the Ngara plant, it's actually a very big bush without leaves, but it has a lot of spikes or thorns to protect itself, because most of the plants in the desert have to evolve so they can protect themselves from any predators or so on. But they have thorns so they can protect the melons. On the melons themselves also have thorns so they can protect themselves. But you know, because of these animals, they are desert adapted. They know how to eat these plants and all that. They would normally be eating the melons, and in the melon is where you get a lot of moisture. A lot of moisture which whereby they get actually the water from. Okay. Moving on to the next. We've been talking about desert adapted animals. Here we've got the dune lark. This is an endemic bird that we will see or we might see in Sossusvlei. So this dune lark, you will actually see it at Dune 1, around Dune 1, but you have to be very early for you to see it. As soon as it starts, as soon as the sun rises, it warms up, and then they go and hide or go to their nest, and they just rest, and then they only come out later in the afternoon, just a few hours before the sun goes down, so they can feed. So what happened is that after breakfast, we normally go out to Dune One, and we go and also look for these beautiful endemic bird. Um, yeah, which is the dune land. It's quite a challenge. Sometimes you would spend about 15 to 30 minutes looking for the bird, but as soon as you see it like this, I promise you, you will be taking photos because it's a very rare bird. You don't see it around anywhere around Namibia or the world. It's only in that specific area or in Sossusvlei in the Namib Desert. Okay. Apart from that, you will also see other animals. We've got also a bird of prey on the left corner. You've got the pale chanting goshawk. So that's also one of the birds that we might see there as well. And on the right, you've got the dune lark down in the corner, that beautiful animal that looks kind of like a coyote or so on. That's called the bat-eared fox. That's actually one of my favorite animals in the desert. Once I see that, I go more crazier than anyone. So that's an ant eater. They actually eat ants. And then as you can see, they've got very big ears there. They've got very big ears, a very kind of a sharp nose. So the big ears, they use that to listen for termites and ants moving underground for up to 30 centimeters. And then they end up digging. But now, because it's a very, very dry, and then in some areas where they don't have ants or termites, they might also go for small insects more like beetles and so on, beetles, tortoises, and all that. And also, they will be eating some fruits as well. And then here, left down corner, we've got the one of Namibia's national antelope as well, which is the springbok. As many of us know, that's the South African rugby team's name. So these guys are also desert adapted, more like the oryx that I showed you in the previous picture. So these guys are also desert adapted. They don't really rely on a lot of water, but when water is provided or when there is rain water in the area, or if the river does flow, they do go and drink water as well. But apart from that, they only get their water source from the food that they eat. All right. Here on the left, we've got the most majestic animal or the highlight of the south. This is actually the brown hyena, and they are scavengers. It's a 50-50 chance seeing these guys, but if you do see it, I always recommend guys take that photo because you might have seen hyenas in all different type of areas, I mean different countries and so on. But here in the Namib Desert, if you do see a hyena, this is very unique. We do have hyenas all over Namibia, but these are totally different because of their adaptation. The type of food that they have to be eat, that they have to eat, and so on. And then they cover actually a very very large ground when going to look for food. So there have been some studies that have been done on brown hyenas where they would go all the way to the coast. So they will cover a distance of up to 50 kilometers just to go and look for food and then still come back to their den in the same time, I mean, the same day. All right. And then on the right, we have also the ostrich as well. Those are one of the animals that we will be seeing, or one of the birds that we'll be seeing in the desert. These animals are all desert adapted, but with time in detail, we will explain also. Once you're with your expedition leader, we will explain all the different colors, the adaptations that these animals do have. All right. Yeah. Apart from the animals that we'll be seeing in the south of Namibia, Namibia is known to have one of the clearest and cleanest skies. As you can see here in the photo, here we do stargazing. I love actually doing stargazing. I've got the laser, so I like pointing out the constellation. So here we are. Once you get in Namibia and you are in Kulala, you will be in the southern hemisphere, or you will be more south of the Tropic of Capricorn. All right. So which is it's gonna be about 15 minutes flight from the south going to the north where we will be. In the south, we normally do the stargazing, whereby you were able to see the Milky Way. In a lot of countries, you won't be able to see that due to the air pollution and so on. But here it's gonna be very, very clear. You're able to see the Milky Way. You also gonna see the most famous constellation, which is the Southern Cross, and the Scorpio. Scorpio being my favorite constellation. Orion, Gemini, Taurus the Bull, Pleiades the Seven Sisters, and other planets as well, which is Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. You're able to see them from here. This just also gives you a very, very beautiful overview of the beautiful skies in Namibia. And also, if you want to do night photography as well, this is the place to be because it's very, very clear, and it doesn't have any light pollution or anything like that. Okay. Um, those are the night activities that we have once you are in the south of Namibia. Remember, I talked about the southern Scorpio, which is one of my favorite constellations. Here we do have also scorpion work. So at night, depending on the weather, when it's nice and warm, we normally go out there for a few minutes. We use a UV light and we look for the scorpions. All right, we use a UV light and we look for the scorpions. So nobody really knows why they reflect to the uh, to the UV light, but once you use a normal flashlight looking for scorpions, you won't see it, even if it is close to your feet. If they are not having different colors, because we've got different species of scorpions. But once you use the UV light, you're able to see the scorpions because their body reflects to the UV light. Apart from that, we've also have the web-footed geckos as well. They do reflect on the UV light as well. Normally, when we have sundowners in just before the sun goes down, we normally stop somewhere, we have our drinks and so on. And then when we drive back and you are in that beautiful scenery or in that beautiful area, you tend to hear sounds. So those sounds are sounds of barking geckos. They are also one of the hardest uh, reptiles to see. But as soon as you start driving back to the camp at night, you start seeing maybe one or two in the middle of the road due to the warmth of the road. That's why they also come and lie down in the middle of the road. So you also end up seeing that. So that's one thing you guys need to listen once you are in the south of Namibia. Okay. Yes. So now here we do have accommodation. Just so you guys know where you will be going to. Lel Kulala is in one of the most unique places, which just borders the national park. So this is the main area, and it faces the dune. So from your rooms and the main area, you are able to see the beautiful dunes in the distance, and also the mountains. And then also when the sun goes down, you are able to see the sun going down as well from the main area. All right, as you can see, this is how it looks like. And then also the beautiful construction that has been made there, with the thatch. And then, or if you look on the right, the wall, they use also a lot of limestone, which came from the area, just to blend the whole lodge in with the surroundings. Um, Here, these are your rooms, or the rooms of the lodge. They've got 11 rooms. They've got 11 rooms. And then if you look here, this is one of the rooms on one side, which are also facing the dunes. And then if you look on the side, it's actually having there is a bed, which you can always request. So it can be made up for you. You can always sleep outside, and you can look at the stars at night. It's very, very safe to sleep out and also to look at the stars. So once it gets cold, you're always welcome to go back into your room and then sleep in there. Otherwise, you can sleep outside, depending on the weather, till morning time as well. We do have a plunge pool. We do have plunge pool here as well. Um, yeah, we do have a plunge pool. So just in case it gets very, very hot, you're able to jump in the pool there. Um, just a minute, seems to. Yeah. So yeah, so that's actually what's happening. So in the south of Namibia, in Kulala, which is the first destination where we'll be going, we'll be spending 3 nights in the south, whereby, as I mentioned, Sossusvlei being the main attraction and so on. Yeah, Sossusvlei, or the Namib Sensi, that is the main attraction. And then apart from that, we get to see some wildlife as well, and so on. All right. After our 3 nights in the south, all right, we will be flying to Damaraland area, which is north west of Namibia. From Kulala to Damaraland, or the Desert Rhino Camp, because this whole area, as you can see where I'm pointing out with the mouse, this is all known as the Damaraland. And we also still border um, the national park. This is one of the most unique national parks, which is the Skeleton Coast National Park. And then, yeah, this is where we'll be staying for the 2 nights. So this area is known for its desert rhino. I mean, it's known for the desert adapted black rhinos. This is where you will find the free roaming black rhinos. Yeah, so this is where you will find the free roaming black rhinos. Um, Nowhere else in the world or in Namibia will you find rhinos that can cover more than 300,000 hectares of free land where the rhinos are roaming freely. As you can see, here's our beautiful animal here, which is the black rhino, or black adapted black rhino. Um, this area is very, very unique. Once we are in Desert Rhino Camp, the main attraction is actually this guy. So here we go and look, what is it, for this beautiful animal in its natural habitat. In its natural habitat, whereby once we reach in camp, we will actually check in. I will be in camp. In the afternoon, we'll be doing our sundowner drive or nature drive, whereby we introduce you to the surroundings or to the area. So once we are done with our sundowners, what we normally do, we drive back to the camp, and there we go and meet up with the rhino trackers, or save the rhino trackers, or the rangers. So these guys will be giving us, they will give us the briefing. They will be talking to us what time we'll be waking up, what to bring, what to wear, and all that. And you are always welcome to ask questions. Um, you are always welcome to ask questions while we are there. All right. These guys actually do a very, very great job. It's what is it? They they actually do a very, very great job with the rhino tracking and all that. But once we are here, there's still more that we're going to be talking about, and we'll still go properly into detail the reason why we came there and why we do that tracking and all that. Okay. So um, the next morning we will be going out um, on the activity, where the trackers will be going out first, and they will go and track the rhinos. We'll also be following. So they will be normally tracking the rhinos on foot. They will track the rhinos on foot. Once they find them, they will call us. So there will be some walking that we'll be doing. And I will tell you at the end what to bring along once we go and do that. But we will be walking in a single file, and we will approach the rhino on foot. Okay. These are not tame rhinos, they are wild rhinos and all that. So once we are out here, we always give a proper briefing on how we're going to work and what we must do and what we must not do. So normally the trackers are the ones that will give us a proper briefing on that. I also do listen to the trackers once we are out there, because we always make sure that we are all safe, and we want to make sure that you guys are safe, and we don't also disturb the rhino, and so that the rhino is very comfortable once we approach it. Also, depending on the wind, the area where we are, the trackers will also look at the whole surrounding and all that, but then we will approach a rhino for us to have at least a close view of the rhino. Okay, we will keep a proper safe distance, but as long as the tracker say no, it's okay, it's safe, that's what we will be doing. All right. So we do actually quite a lot of conservation work with the Save the Rhino Trust guys. Um, we do a lot of conservation work. As you can see here, we do have, this is how close we can get with the rhino. As long as we don't move and listen to the trackers and so on, the rhino won't really mind. The guys who know how to take care of the whole situation. So we normally take care. We look at the rhino, we observe, and so. And as you can see on the left corner, just on the left side of right side of the bush, we have one of the trackers. So he's more of like a decoy, because rhinos have a very poor eyesight. They've got a very poor eyesight, but they can smell very well and they can hear very well as well. But then what happens is that they normally use the wind. So the trackers will normally look at the wind, which side the wind is going, and so forth, and they're able to let us approach depending on how the wind is. Okay, so these trackers, what they do, as you can see here, one of the trackers here have a small notebook, and his binoculars just to look for the rhinos. And on his left side, he has a bag. And in that bag, there is a camera. So what happened is that they use that camera to take photos of the rhinos, and that's how they identify the rhinos and all that. They identify the rhinos and they collect all the data. By looking at the rhino and all that, they collect all the data, they write it in their book, and at the end of the week or end of the month, that book is taken in to the Save the Rhino Trust or head office, which is very, very close to Damaraland area. And then with that, that's how they collect the data of the rhinos. I can't really say how many rhinos there are, but the population is very good. Reason why we don't really say how many rhinos we have in the area is we don't want to give high what is it we don't really want to give out the numbers due to poaching purpose and so on. But we do have a very, very good anti-poaching unit in the area, and not only in the area, we have all over Namibia, wherever there is rhinos, we do have a very, very good anti-poaching unit. And these guys always patrol and make sure no poaching happens and all that. So as we mentioned, the rhino population are recovering in Namibia thanks to the community-led intervention. So we here at NetHab and WWF work very, very close with Save the Rhino Trust to help Namibia's communal conservancies improve and expand rhino protection programs and prevent wildlife crime. So when you guys are traveling with NetHab donates a percentage of the money you use on the trip. They donate it to WWF, and WWF uses that money to bring up all these programs on how to protect our rhinos. And not only rhinos, all endangered species like rhinos, lions, and so forth, and other animals, and also do a lot of conservation work throughout Namibia. So your money doesn't go to waste. This is the reason why we ask you guys to travel with us, because with your money, you guys are actually contributing to the conservation work or programs that we are doing. Because of you, that's a reason why we have all these rhinos. That's a reason why all these guys are protecting the rhinos, because you are creating jobs. And these jobs, these guys are being trained for them to look after these animals, and they can benefit also from the animals. You know, in another way, in other forms, is we get a lot of tourists coming to Namibia, and the guys have the anti-poaching unit have jobs, and they can still take care of their families. So everybody has a 50-50. It's actually a 50-50 thing here. All right. But as I mentioned, still, once you guys get here, we'll still go into detail where we will be talking more about conservation work. All right. Here, as you can see, we've got one of the anti-poaching, one of the trackers explaining once we are done with the walking and all that, we drive to a spot where we go and have lunch. After lunch, they take out the book, and then they've got all most of the rhinos in the area. They've got a booklet, and then they will also tell you about the rhinos, how old they are, and so on. And then they tell you more about their work, how they got here, how we, what type of work we do as companies, tourism companies, and so on. Okay. So once we are out here, please, you are welcome to always ask questions. We are happy to always answer all the questions. And if we don't know, we will always do research, and then we'll let you know. But we know a lot about conservation work and so on, which we still doing. All right. Apart from the rhinos, if we are very, very lucky, once we go out there on activities. Apart from rhinos, we do sometimes come across um, desert adapted elephants. So most of these animals that we'll be seeing here, or all the animals that we'll be seeing here, they are desert adapted. On the left, we've got desert adapted elephants. Special feature on these elephants is their body size. They've got very long legs, very slender, wider um, feet. That's actually for climbing up into the mountains and um, in rocky areas. They walk normally in rocky areas and so forth. And also, some of them will be having less tusks. So, what I always ask my guests is that once we are out here, let's take a good look at these animals. We might have seen animals in all different places and so on, same animals, but different behaviors, different adaptations. These are desert adapted, and once you observe the behavior of this animal, the adaptation, and you go, for example, in Etosha, you will see a totally big difference in these animals. All right. And here we've got also the giraffe, which is we've got the southern African giraffe. We've got only one species of giraffe in Namibia. There's actually 7 species around Africa, but here we've got the southern African giraffe or the Angolan giraffe. And then, as you can see here, we've got some elephants also playing around. So I always keep my fingers crossed to come across these desert adapted elephants, because if you see them in Etosha or in Botswana and so on, they are totally different because of their behaviors and all that. But this is one thing that I want to always see once I'm in desert rhino camp. Oh, and here we've got the spotted hyenas. Remember in Little Kulala, I talked about the brown hyena. So here we've got the spotted hyenas. These are the main guys here. Sometimes you will see them in a group, maybe like 4 or 5, more than that. These guys are also scavengers. In some cases, there have been some records of hyenas hunting, but in cases like this, they will normally be scavenging on animals. Yeah, so they will be scavenging on animals that die, maybe or due to the drought and so on. Because we haven't got some rain, so there are some animals that die of drought either because there's less food in the area. Okay. So apart from that, we also do see oryx. Oryxes, as you can see at the back there, we've got also very beautiful landscape. Desert Rhino Camp and Damaraland area is known for its most beautiful landscape as well. Those are all at Tendeka Mountains, which are basalt rocks or extrusive lava. Um, which is in the area. That's why we'll be seeing quite a lot of these reddish rocks in the area. Yeah, and apart from that, we might also come across desert adapted lions as well. We'll also be might see desert adapted lions. Sometimes Mother Nature allowing as well, we do come across leopards. Those are very rare sightings to see. Just in case we are there and we run into some of these beautiful sightings. They are one of the rare sightings to see, but there are sometimes we come across them, and also cheetahs as well. But you never know, it's Mother Nature, they can also surprise you as well. Apart from that, we also do have reptiles in the areas, as well as snakes and geckos and chameleons as well, which are the Namaqua chameleons. All right. Moving on to the next one. Here we've got one of our beautiful national plants. Uh, it looks more like ancient plant by looking at it, or it's like, kind of destroyed and so on. But there is a unique thing about this plant. It's Namibia's national plant. It's one of the most protected plants that we have. It's known as the Welwitschia mirabilis, and it only grows in Namibia, starting from Swakopmund, which is our coastal town northwest of Namibia. That's where these beautiful plants start growing, all the way in the Namib Desert. And I would say about 3% of these plants grow in Angola, but they only grow in the desert. Reason why is they grow in the desert. The reason why they are our national plant is because of their unique way of adapting, and this is something special about this plant. They are known to be one of the oldest plants in the world, which is about the carbon dating of that they done on this Welwitschia plant is 2,000 years old, and it's still living. So it's still living. They grow 2 meters high and 4 meters in diameter. So they can grow quite very, very big and wide as well. They only have two leaves, and they can stay for very, very long time without any water source. Any water source. They only get the water source from the fog, so they don't really depend on the rain. They get the water source from the fog. And what happens is that the fog rolls in. Since we are very close to the Atlantic Ocean, it condenses on the leaf, rolls down, and then they absorb. By looking at the plant here, you are able to tell also whether it's a male or a female, looking at the cones. So here, this is actually a female, and then the males will normally have very, very tiny cones. All right, this is actually the female because it's carrying the seed. The seeds are the ones that are forming the cones. So this is one of the most unique plants that we'll be seeing. You won't be able to miss this. And also just touching on the leaves, they are very hard and all that. So once we are in Desert Rhino Camp area, we are able to see this beautiful, beautiful plant. Okay. Um, so once we are here for our 3 nights, um, we will be going to our last destination, which is Ongava Reserve, which is also close to or which borders Etosha National Park. All right. So just to show you, looking at the map where it's pointing, the park itself, the reserve itself, just borders south of Etosha National Park. So Etosha National Park is actually our what is it? It's the home for most of the animals. This is the main reason why we also have a lot of guests coming to Namibia. This is the main attraction. So guests will normally be flying to the south, go and see the dunes. They will go to the coastal side, and then they would go to Etosha. So Etosha is where you will actually find a lot of wildlife. Um, and then also for it's also known for its big great white pen, which you can see up here. All right. So Etosha means the great white place, or the Salpen. It means the great white place. This is where the Ovambo tribe, which is my tribe, which comes from the northern part of Namibia, used to go in to the park just before it was proclaimed as a national park. They would come in here, and then they would collect the salt in the pen. So this salt pen stretches quite a very, very long way. We're talking about 100 kilometers long and 60 kilometers wide. This pen actually is nearly the size of Switzerland, as they say it, for those that know the size of Switzerland, they say it's the same size as Switzerland. So once we are in Ongava, we will be here for 3 nights. Those 3 nights, we'll be doing some activities on the property where we'll be seeing rhinos. So Ongava Ongava Private Game Reserve is about 30,000 hectares, and they actually have rhinos in there. So they have both black and white rhinos. In the desert, we actually see the black rhinos, which are desert adapted. Here we've got the black and white rhinos, which are also on the property. All right. Um, so we'll be here for 3 nights whereby we'll be doing activities on the property, and then we'll also have one day, depending on whether it's one day or 2 days, depending on what we see and the sighting wise and so on. We'll be going into Etosha National Park, whereby we'll go and visit these different water holes looking for all sorts of animals. So on the reserve, what you also have on the reserve is what you have in the national park, but it's always very nice to be able to see the animals on both sides. So maybe on the reserve, we might that they see less animals, but as soon as you go into the park, you might see them in a bigger number. So what happens is that um, once we are in Etosha, we will be driving from one water hole to another water hole because it's a national park. There is no off-roading or anything like that. We drive from one water hole to another water hole looking for all these animals. So this is actually a very, very nice season to be here because it's nice and dry. And then a lot of animals do come to the water hole, so we will be able to see animals in larger numbers. Okay. In Etosha, whereby we'll also be seeing elephants and rhinos, lions, and so forth. The same applies into in Etosha, in Ongava Private Game Reserve. Apart from that, we'll also see a lot of animals since it's a very nice green place for those that love doing birding. These are the places to be because you'll see all sorts of birds. And then we also have birds of prey as well that we'll be seeing. As you can see there, we've got also some elephants. Elephants also having some uh, dust bathing. After drinking water, they will be playing also with the sand and using actually the sand for cooling down and also getting rid of their ticks and parasites that they will be having on their body. Yes, apart from that, we'll also be having a lot of, we might be seeing also a lot of springboks, there's wildebeest, all different type of animals, eland. Sometimes we end up also seeing aardwolves and hyenas as well. Um, Here on the left, you see some elephants and kudus, and then impalas as well. Just enjoying the water hole as they share. So what actually happens right now in this season, because our rainy season starts in um, um, somewhere in November, and then it ends in April. But due to climate change, there has been quite a lot of changes in the weather and so on. Sometimes we end up getting early rains or late rains, but that's actually what's happening. So right now it's actually the right season because we don't have water pools everywhere, and we only have water source where the animals always come and drink water. So while we do drives, we will stop in different places just to see if the animals do come there. But if they do come there, they will also be sharing the water holes. All right. On the right, you can see there we've got some rhinos there. These are black rhinos just by looking at their mouth and also at the humps. Normally, all black rhinos have two humps, and then white rhinos have three humps. So, and then also the hook lips that we have here. So these are black rhinos that we have here. So black rhinos are active in most of these areas, like in Etosha and Ongava. They are mostly active during the night. That's when they are mostly active throughout the night, and then in the day they would go and rest. So in this case, as you can see, it's dark. After resting, they would come to the water hole to come and drink water at night, and then go back and go and feed and so on, or early morning hours. So once you are at the lodges, depending on which camp we will be based, if you look on your itinerary that you get, we we normally stay in different camps, like Ongava Tended Camp, um, Ongava Tended Camp, and then Ongava Lodge, and so on, Andersons. But all depending on the itinerary that you've got, you might get different um, camps where we'll be staying, but all these different camps will be doing the same activities. It's just the camps and so on. So sometimes we use alternative camps. So in Damaraland, we will be using an alternative camp, or we might be using alternative camp, and then also in Ongava. So depending on that, we'll be in different camps. So once we are also at the camp at night, you will also be faced. Some of all these camps do have water holes, and you will also be facing the water hole. So while having dinner, you might see animals coming to the water hole to come and drink, like these rhinos. And um, Ongava Lodge and Andersons, they do have a hide. So you can always walk into the hide, and you can have a very, very close view of the rhinos or elephants or lions drinking water nearly at the eye level. So giving you also that nice feeling, of being very, very close to the animal. Yes. So apart from that, we also do get other animals coming through at night, but mostly it will be the big animals like the lions, rhinos, elephants, and sometimes, if we are lucky, leopards and hyenas do come to the waterhole. So while sitting there, you will be enjoying the view of these beautiful animals. Yeah, and here we've got also a very, very beautiful picture of our sundowners. So these are the sundowners that we actually mean. Um, so after a long drive, looking for the animals and all that, we come and stop our vehicle in a safe place. We take out our drinks, our gin and tonics, wines, and so forth, and we just relax, have a very, very beautiful time. Having some conversations, also looking at the sun going down. Yeah. So while we are here, we can always talk about conservation, talking about the animals we've been seeing, and so forth. Here on the left, we also have this very, very beautiful acacia tree. This beautiful acacia tree with some nests, which are made by the white-browed sparrow weavers. So once we are also there, our expedition leaders, or I, or my colleagues will be able to explain everything about um, these beautiful structures that we see here made by the white-browed sparrow weavers, and why they are made in different areas like that. Yeah, since we're talking about it, I just get too excited. But anyways, as you can see in the tree, there's quite a lot of nests. Most of those nests are actually just decoys to distract the predators, sometimes like the snakes and so on. So normally they will only maybe have 2 or 3 nests, and then the rest of them are just decoys. And it's also very good. How would I say, if you're looking for directions, it's a very, very good compass, because these birds, they build their nest entrance facing the west, so they can capture the last warmth when they going to bed. That's a reason also for them constructing the nest like that. All right. Here, as you can see, we have one of the water holes. This is in Etosha National Park. There is a congregation of a lot of animals, and sometimes there is like a lot. So you will hardly even finish counting all these animals. So it's just on a bigger scale that you will be seeing some of these animals, depending on which water hole it is, and also the time of day it is. Um, that you will be able to see all these animals. So the earlier in the morning hours, the better the chances are to see a lot of animals. But as soon as it starts getting warmer and so on, most of these animals end up disappearing, or they go and rest. You will see a few here and there, but early morning hours, it's always good because the animals are active, and late in the afternoons. So that's whereby we also start with our activities. We do our activities also depending on the time um, of the day. So we start early morning hours for what we call the golden hour. Mostly it's very good for photography as well. And also animals are active during that time. And then we get back to the camp. Then late in the afternoon, maybe starting around 4 o'clock, but depends because our season is changing. It's better to always tell you about the time, activity times once you are in camp. But later in the afternoon, maybe like around 4:30, 4 o'clock, we go out again. But as soon as before the sun goes down, the temperatures change and it becomes cool, and you start seeing all these um, animals coming out. So that's actually the most beautiful time to do activities. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of oryxes. There's a lot of oryxes, zebras, warthogs, giraffes, and so on. So once we go out to Etosha, as you can see, it's kind of hazy there. So sometimes there might be also a bit of wind, and that dust is the one that's actually coming from the pan, from the salt pan. So the salt pan, which was a shallow ocean, because of the upliftment of the continents, the upliftment of the Great Escarpment and all that, it ended up drying out and so on. And then later, when you start getting all that wind blowing, you end up seeing the place becoming more hazy. But it gives off also a very, very beautiful. Um, it makes it very, very beautiful, like in the background, especially when you are taking photos like this as well. Uh, and then here we've got our majestic guys, which is our elephants. Here they play actually with the mud, so we don't have white elephants. So please, once we are out there, don't say you've seen a white elephant. We don't have white elephants. All our elephants are the same. There is just the area where they are and the sand that they use to bath with or to cool down. So this is all calc or calcium or limes that they use, which they throw on their body, and then they tend to be white like this. And that's whereby you would see they look more like whitish and so on. And in Damaraland area, we will also come across um, some green elephants and so on. That's just because of uh, the food that they eat, especially like the Salvadora bush that they chew and then they throw it on their body. Okay. Apart from that, we'll also be seeing some beautiful birds. I did mention that Etosha and Ongava is one of the beautiful places where you will be seeing quite a lot of bird species. Here we've got one of the heaviest flying birds, which is the Coribuster. Those are more common there. We'll also be seeing a lot of uh, goshawks as well. And then European rollers, all sorts of rollers, bee eaters, a lot of larks and so forth. So those are the birds that we'll be seeing there as well. Here we've got also the left corner top, we've got the crimson British shrike, and in the middle we've got the great go-away bird. And then on the right we've got the goshawk, bilge hunting goshawk there, and then we've got also the fork-tailed drongo. So if you love birds, this is a place to be, and you'll definitely be seeing quite a lot of that. All right. So just before we go to transportation, I'm just gonna mention about a few things, accommodation facilities. Um, in all the camps where we'll be going, all our camps where we'll be going, we do have Wi-Fi as well. So you don't need to worry about Wi-Fi. We do have Wi-Fi in the camps and so on. Um, we actually use satellite Wi-Fi. So at most cases the Wi-Fi is working properly and so on. But if you do encounter that, it's normally because maybe of the weather. But we will be there to assist you with all that if you do have any difficulties as well. Um, we also have charging ports in all the rooms that you'll be having. There will be charging ports. We're talking about a 220 volt of electricity. So there will be charging ports in the rooms where you can charge your cell phones and cameras and so forth. But if you do need an adapter, you can always let me know or one of our expedition leaders know, so uh, we can get you some adapters from the managers in the rooms. And then so in some of the camps, they also do offer massage. Once we get in the camp, they will brief you about that and which camp is having a massage, where you can always book a massage and all that. And then, yeah, apart from that, laundry is included, so no need to worry. In all our camps, everything will be included and so forth. And then also, if there are some shops in the at the lodges. So if you need to do some purchasing as well, they do also accept cash, which is either in Namibian dollars or they can Namibian dollars or South African rand, which is equivalent. Namibian South African is just the same. They're equivalent one on one, and you can still use that. Or if not, you can use a credit card, which is Visa or a Mastercard in the camps as well. Um, Yes, and then they also do have hair dryers in some of the camps, so you were able to use that. But I mean, once you are out on activity, we have the natural one, which is the wind, because it's very, very hot. And once you are out on a safari vehicle, you always tend to have that nice breeze, which will dry out your hair. Okay. We don't have, in some of the places, we don't have any cellular coverage. So we recommend you guys to always use Wi-Fi once we are in the rooms. And then all the rooms will also be having safes. So a safe where you can put in your passports and so on. You're welcome to use the safe in all the rooms. Um, Yes. Once we in camp, we'll still go properly into detail of what to expect in all these rooms and so on. So about safety, just to get quickly down onto safety, um, all our camps don't have fences, except depending on one, which is Anderson, they will be fenced off. But then all our camps, they don't have fences. So at night, we always ask our guests not to walk forth and back to their room on their own. If you need to walk to your room, always ask a guide to escort you to the rooms. In Little Kulala in the south, the first camp, it's safe to walk forth and back to the rooms, but we will always be there. And then if you need to escort, we will escort you to the room just to be on the safe side. But it's very, very safe to walk there to the room. But when we get in Desert Rhino Camp area or Damaraland Camp, we always ask, we will always escort you to the room due to safety because of the lions sometimes that come into the camps or hyenas and so on. So please do always ask for an escort once you're in that camp. And in Ongava as well, you don't walk to your room at night on your own. We always escort you to the room just to be on the safe side because of the predators that we have in the area. Okay. All right. So now we're going to be talking about, we are done with the itinerary or the accommodations and so on. We're going to be talking about transportations and vehicles. So from all the camps, um, we will be flying from one camp to another.
or from one destination to another, we'll be using a light aircraft, which is a Cessna Caravan 208. This is actually one of my favorite planes. Then I just love flying with the Caravan because it's meant for these terrain and for these type of weathers. And our pilots are one of the most experienced pilots. So we will be using those planes, fly from one place to another, whereby we will also do a few stops just to refuel and all that. So depending on how many guests we are, that's why we'll be weighing our luggages. But we'll get now to the luggage part as well. So we will be flying around throughout the country using our caravan planes. Here in Little Kulala, getting down now to the vehicles, in Little Kulala, we use, or in Kulala in the south, we use closed vehicles. Reason for that is because of the long distance we do. And then also sometimes we do get sandstorms in the south of Namibia. So there you would definitely need to have a closed vehicle, and also due to the fog and all that. So that's why we need to use a closed vehicle. Desert Rhino Camp and Damaraland Camp, Ongava, um, those two camps, we use open vehicles, as you can see just here on the right. These are our open vehicles. They're very nice and beautiful, comfortable vehicles, as you can see there. We use these. Reason is because here in these areas, we've got a lot of wildlife, and we need an open vehicle for us to rotate. I mean, to move our cameras or to move from one seat to another, just to uh, and take beautiful photos of the wildlife. Once we get also in these camps, we'll be doing a lot of uh, as you can see, there's a lot of seats in the vehicle. So once we get in the vehicles, we will change also seats. So we won't be stuck at one seat. So we must always rotate within the vehicle. So we all have different seats in all our activities. Okay, but that is actually the reason why we use open vehicles in these two camps, which is Rhino Camp or in Damaraland and in Ongava and Etosha. We use open vehicles. We do. It does also get very cold once we are out there. So on the vehicles, we do provide ponchos, so just to keep you warm while we are out on the activity. Um, yeah, we do also provide you with the ponchos, and my favorite, which is a Bush Baby. It's a warm water bottle just to keep you warm in the morning hours. But as soon as the sun rises, it starts becoming warm. So we end up not using a lot of warm clothes. Okay. All right. So the most important things, guys, as you can see here on the screen here, we've got a recommendation of camera gear. You might be wondering what type of cameras you must bring or lenses. So there are normally there are two essential lenses that I recommend for landscape, which is a 16 to 35 millimeter lens. That's mostly just for the landscape, and a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, which you can also use, or a telephoto, which you can use for the landscape. Apart from that, if you want, once we go to other places like Desert Rhino Camp and Ongava area, I always recommend you guys to bring a 200 to 400 or 100 to 400 millimeter lens for a telephoto lens. That's just to capture very good or to bring the animal closer just in case we are further out. All right. So sometimes you don't also need cameras for all this or to carry heavy equipment. As we nowadays we have cell phones, which are also having very very beautiful or very beautiful cameras, and you can take very beautiful photos on your iPhone as well. But we are always here to show you how to use it and so forth. All right. So this year, as you can see, we've just got a few cameras and so lenses, but we always recommend you guys to bring a lot of memory cards because we'll be taking quite a lot of photos, and make sure you bring enough batteries as well. So at night, we'll be able to charge our cameras. All right, physical requirements. We will be doing quite a lot of walking or hiking. So I recommend you guys to bring walking sticks if you do have a walking stick, hiking boots, because we'll be walking, especially in the dunes and in the rocky areas of Damaraland. Please do bring along hiking boots, hats, sunscreen, and dehydrates. And then also water bottles because it does get very, very hot and you might get dehydrated. So I always am asking you guys to please bring that along. Okay, and then just okay, so yeah, that's what I will be asking. Luggage requirement. This is the most important one that I'm asking everyone. When coming to Namibia, as you can see here on the screen, we've got two sorts of bags that we can bring on. In Namibia, only soft duffel type bags will be accepted. No frames or rigid structure may be transported as this cannot physically fit in the aeroplane. So reason why they say you must bring duffel bags, they must be able to put them in the aeroplane so they can just fit them in. Because if you bring a hard case, it won't fit. But if you do come with a hard case and you get in Namibia, at the airport, when you arrive at the lounge, they will weigh your bags because we are only allowed to carry 20 kilograms of luggage. Luggage with us. That includes now the hand luggage, camera equipment, and so on. And then if you do have more, but you can't carry it, you can just, they will give you a bag. When you get at the hotel, you can rearrange that, put it in the bag, and it will be kept safe at the airport lounge. And on the last day, when you get back to Windhoek, you will just get back, you will get your bag, and then you can just repack on that again. All right. I think we are nearly at the end of the presentation. Here, what I normally say is when packing for this trip, make sure you only pack what you need. You please just bring what you need. So that's just to say, make sure to pack some warm clothes, something because our weather do change quite a lot here. It's unpredictable, but it does get very cold in the morning, and at night, in the afternoon, or as the sun rises, the temperatures changes a lot. And then you can take off the layers, but always bring something warm. And then things not to really forget is but I think we are nearly done with that. Just the only thing that I'm asking the guests to bring along is just make sure you bring your passport along. You pack enough clothes that you will be needing here, and yeah, you just pack what you will definitely need in um, uh, when you come to the trip here in south of Namibia. Okay. Yeah, I think that's actually all. And please, the most important thing is medication. If you do have any medication, please do bring that along as well. But apart from that, most of the information will be given on the itinerary that you, yeah, it will be on the itinerary. And once you get to Namibia, we will be going in a proper detail and we'll give you more information about the whole trip.
Abner,
So I think we
thank you.
end.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for presenting for us today. You clearly have a passion for Namibia and your wealth of knowledge. So thank you for sharing all that you have today. And if there are any questions, I encourage folks to reach out to their adventure specialist or to our concierge team. If there was anything that was left unsaid today, they can help you. want to thank you all for tuning in today. Please join us again tomorrow for our next Daily Dose of Nature. You can check out this week's lineup, including registration links, on our website at nathab.com/webinars. We did record today's presentation, and we will have the replay available on our website soon. With that, I'll conclude the webinar. Thanks again, Abner. Everybody, hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. And I hope to see everybody coming to Namibia.
Thank you.
Oh, can't wait to see you guys.